engagement, like many theoretical words, has 1,000 definitions out there. Of all the versions, we focus on what is happening in the moment as a learner or participant is experiencing a particular exhibit or classroom situation or what have you. It's sort of the characteristics of the experience. And then, so now that we're of the people who think about engagement that way, I think we are pretty similar to how a number of others think about it. And I think of it as sort of the ABC of engagement. The affective engagement element, are you enjoying or bored in the moment? The behavioral component, are you actually doing the activity or experience, or are you off task, as it were? And then the cognitive elements. Are you, you might have your hands on, but your mind off. Are you really thinking about making connections, cognitively participating? And that's, I think, now a kind of a consensus view among people who are studying engagement as the thing that's happening in the moment.
Studying the in the moment reaction of students is really important, because they may be they come into our activities with prior ideas about science and prior interest or belief in their competencies. But when they're into certain activities in a place that is different, they may feel they don't belong in the place, especially if they belong to minoritized groups like girls or certain racial minorities. So it's really important to know whether the setting or the activity that they're experiencing is actually affecting the way they perceive themselves as scientists or not, or the way they perceive themselves as good at accomplishing certain activities or not. So I think that is a value that has to study engagement.
I would also add that we consistently find that affective engagement and cognitive and behavioral engagement don't travel together. Yeah. That is, some experiences work really well on one of those dimensions, but relatively poorly on the others, and those have long-term consequences. And if you're not measuring each of the elements, you can, just not even notice that your designed experience isn't working on that other aspect, or at least not for a lot of learners, and where you thought, boy, they look so engaged,
and they're totally doing the activity, and
but
they feel like they're not part of the community, or they feel like it's not fun. I think that often it's seen as a does it work, doesn't work kind of approach, or like the average engagement sort of thing. I think that if we truly want this informal experience or formal experience to actually make change in the way learners perceive science and their trajectories in science, we really need to start looking more at the for whom aspect of it, and how there's differential interpretations of these experiences, and understand that girls overall won't have the same experiences, right? That there's components about their family life, their race, their prior experiences that will influence the way they're engaging in a certain activity, and actually looking for that sort of like differences and looking for how learners are experiencing this different is what actually will allow us to make changes that will have a huge impact.
We settled on using short surveys as the way we like to do it most regularly. It's efficient in terms of providing timely feedback. You can do it with large sets of learners, so you can get really into the for whom, who's actually benefiting, who's really engaging, who is not, and often give you insights. As you're watching, you have some beliefs about what's happening inside the learner's mind, but often you're surprised where someone who looks like they're thoughtfully engaged actually is totally off task. And somebody who looks like they're in la la land is actually just deeply thinking about the experience, and without asking them, you have no way of knowing.